No, no, I couldn't go to the beach and hang out with you on Memorial Day. My mean boss made me come in here for Art Marketing Monday as part of Art School Live. So I am handcuffed, man. I'm handcuffed. I have to be here for you. Actually, I am my own boss. I want to be here for you. So happy Memorial Day. Man, what a great week last week was. I'll tell you about it later. But if you guys want to make some extra money, that's what we're here for today. If you're an artist, photographer, crafter, you want to make more money, that's what this is about. Today, we've got some questions that you've submitted. Let's go through those questions real quickly. How often should I post on social media? Having a niche. Do I need a logo? Should I do giveaways? Do blogs or artist websites matter? Artist statements. How do I keep my collectors engaged from a new country? Okay, well, we'll get into all that stuff. My name is Eric Rhoads, and I am the founder of several magazines, newsletters, conferences, events for artists, and other things. I've been helping artists and businesses and galleries in the art world for decades. My superpower is the business of art, and I've spent my career marketing and selling products and helping people grow, and hopefully 10x your business with my advice. So we're going to get this show officially started. This is the Memorial Day version.
It's Art School Live with Eric Rhoads.
Well, the Memorial Day version, here we are. And I just want to tell you, we're going to try and crack open some things for you on Memorial Day. And I'm happy you're watching. So we're here every weekday at 12 noon, Mondays, even Memorial Day Monday. We're doing Marketing Fridays. We do feedback. And in the middle of the week, we do art lessons. Last week, we did the plein air convention. Man, was it wild. Wild. You'll have to check out my social media to see how wild it was. We're going to get right to where the rubber meets the road and see if you can stump me with your questions, because that happens, well, all the time. Okay, so from Tanya Morales. By the way, I should tell you how to submit questions. If you want to submit questions to me, send them to me, eric@streamlinepublishing.com. Okay. And if you want to go on the show live, just go to artschool.live/stream. Okay. All right. Enough about that. How do I, Tanya says, how should I post my art on social media without annoying people or seeming desperate? I'll tell you a story. I was starting my business out, and this major executive, head of this big major organization, and I'm having a drink with him or something at a cocktail party, and he said, "You need to put yourself out there more." I said, "Well, I kind of feel like I'm doing too much." He said, You've got to put yourself out there more. People aren't even noticing." He says, I'm paying attention to what you're doing, and you need to be out there more." See, here's the thing. People do not pay close attention, right? So you're assuming that everybody sees every post. That's the first thing you got to realize, Tanya, is that only 3% of everything you post is shown to your followers. If you have 100 followers, that means 3 people are shown. If people are more engaged, they'll show it to more people. But not everybody's going to see everything that you post. And so you need to post frequently, post more often, and you really can't post probably too much. And, because people are just doing this all the time, and you're just basically trying to be like a billboard that you're driving by at 60 miles an hour, and you're like, whoa, I got the message. Whoa, I got the message, right? So this is what you're doing, right? So with social media, you're just trying to brand yourself. You're trying to get their attention, and hopefully you'll get their attention so much that they'll slam on the brakes and they'll look at what you have to offer and say, hey, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to pay attention to this. I'm going to note who this artist is. And that's your goal, right? It's not necessarily a selling medium. It can be, but it's a great tool to reach people. But it's a hard tool to reach a targeted audience. Another discussion at another time. Okay, so anyway, You're not going to seem desperate. You're not going to annoy people. And you might hear from a couple of people. There's an old adage that if you're not offending somebody, you're not putting yourself out there enough. Okay. All right. Next we have from Oliver Hunt in the United Kingdom. Okay. Oliver says, does having a niche really matter? I love painting everything from florals to cityscapes. You know, Oliver, it kind of depends, right? First off, paint what you love. That's my motto. Paint what you love. Listen, I paint a lot of stuff. I paint portraits, I paint landscapes, I paint still life, I paint watercolor, I paint pastel, I paint acrylic, I paint gouache, I paint oil. I do a lot of stuff. But I am very, very, very narrow when it comes to my art gallery, right? The galleries that I'm in only carry my landscape paintings, and they only carry my oil landscape paintings. So I'm not trying to confuse my market by putting all the other stuff I love painting out there. I love to paint a lot of things. I get bored real easily, right? I have that kind of a brain. I got to be always trying new things, trying different things. But if you become niched, it will really help you. Now, you can get niched into a corner and never be able to escape it. But if you get niched into a broad category, let's say it's landscape painting or portrait painting or whatever, that's fairly broad. You can do a lot within that. But, you know, until you get known, you want to become known for something. So paint what you love, but market what you want to promote, right? What's going to make the big difference? I love the UK. Let's go painting. Okay, Fiona Leclerc from Quebec. Do you need a logo or professional branding to look legit as an artist? No, you don't. I could expand on that, but no, you don't. I mean, a lot of artists have logos. A lot of artists do these signatures, logos of signatures. It's like, I can't read this. And, you know, I mean, sometimes they make them so they're very readable. That's fine. That can be a logo. It's fine to have a logo. I like logos. I'm a big logo guy. I have lots of logos in my businesses, but you don't necessarily have to have it. You do want to have kind of a consistent look. And so if you can logo it, that's great. Put your logo on everything. That's branding, right? But branding is more about trusting you and who you are and what you stand for and what you do than anything else. So, I mean, I doubt if I'm thinking of some very famous artists that I know. I'm trying to think if they have logos on their websites. I don't know. Some of them don't even have websites, but they're still famous. We'll talk about that. Okay, next comes from Samuel Ortega, who's probably on the beach in Corpus Christi, Texas for Memorial Day. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Samuel Ortega says, do I need to dance? I love this. Do I need to dance on TikTok to sell my paintings, or can I just paint and still have dignity? Oh, Samuel. I want to see you dance, Samuel. Look, I don't know where to begin. Some people want to dance on TikTok and dance well and get noticed and get millions of followers, and that's really cool. TikTok is a medium that expects stimulation of some sort, and stimulation works best. Now, stimulation works well in all social media if you can do something to get attention, but you don't have to do something that's going to destroy your dignity. And, you know, the thing that I hate, all these people do these reveal, you know, they show the back of the painting and then they slowly turn it over and like, I'm moved on. I don't want to watch that. But you know, their goal is to get you to stay longer, because the longer you stay, the better their metrics look, right? So I think it's nonsense personally, but a lot of people still do it. And I don't know if it works or not, but I don't like it. It's just because, like, I want to get to the point fast. No, you don't need to dance on TikTok to sell your paintings. And sometimes, you know, what you do, the level of dignity that you hold can really influence things. For instance, if you're if you're going after a high end, I remember a story a gallery told me one time. She said, I got a call from a buyer of a painting from this one artist, she said, I want to bring the painting back. I don't want it anymore. And she said, why? She said, because I saw the artist doing some really stupid things on Facebook, and I don't want anything to do with him. And I can't look at that painting in the same way. So that artist kind of messed up his branding with that person because of that, because it was a party thing or whatever. I mean, you have to be sensitive to those things. Some people don't care. A lot of people do politics. There are artists I know who do politics. And I hear from people who say, I don't want to come and see that person at your convention because they gave their political opinions, or I don't want to buy a video from you or something like that. And I've called some of these artists and said, hey, tone it down, baby. And they're like, no, I'm doing what I want to do, and I respect that, but it does hurt their business, whether they like it or not. And, business is hard enough without taking 50% of the people and making them mad. That's how I feel. So you don't need to dance on TikTok. All right. Here's one from Kayla Brooks. Kayla says, is it worth doing giveaways to grow my art account, or does it attract the wrong crowd? Well, I don't know what you mean by art account, Kayla, and if you could come on, that'd be great. But you're probably at the beach today, where I should be. I'm going now. Okay, I'll stay. So Kayla, is it worth doing giveaways to grow my art account? Well, giveaways people remember you for the smallest thing you do, not the biggest thing you do. And if you're giving away cheap stuff, you're going to be branded as cheap. If you're giving away expensive stuff, that helps. Some people, I have friends who are very, very wealthy. They still love to win stuff. I know they could go out and buy it, but everybody likes to win something. So I think it can be helpful. So you can do giveaways. You can do it on a website, or you can do it at an event. We do event giveaways a lot. Put your address in to win this product. Good way to gather addresses. If you're doing something nice, it's not going to attract the wrong crowd. You're doing something cheap, it's going to attract the wrong crowd, right? And if you're doing something that's not appropriate to the brand that you're trying to communicate, then don't do it, whatever it is. Just saying. That's what I think. Okay, let's see now. Let's go to the next one. David Koenig. I've been featured on a local show, so how do I leverage that online? I don't know what that means, David. A local show. I would assume a local TV show. All right, so how do I leverage that? Here's what I would do if I were on a local TV show. First off, I would prepare a press release with a link, and I would say, David Koenig, artist Dave, write it in third person if somebody's writing about you. I would say, David Koenig was featured on NBC Today show on this date and in this time, and here's a link to the video, and here's what David said, and here's what went on, and here's his contact information if you want to interview him. Now, being on a local TV show isn't necessarily a news item, but sometimes these things show up in Google searches, and especially if you put it on PR Web, PR Wire, one of those services, that can be helpful. I would leverage it in my newsletter, because what it does is it gives you credibility, right? So, in your newsletter, you say, hey, folks, here's some pictures of me on the local NBC affiliate where, last Thursday I was interviewed, and, we talked about paintings. I painted online. I painted the picture of the host, whatever you did, show some pictures and tell the story. And then that can be good for you because it says, hey, this person is important enough to be on the TV. I do that stuff all the time. I was featured in Success Magazine. I've been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, all kinds of stuff. Anytime that stuff would happen, I would make sure that all my customers knew it, because you've got the benefit of all the people who see it, but some of your customers might not have seen it, might not ever have seen it, might not subscribe. So you tell them it's a good thing. It's like, hey, I'm cool. I'm in the New York Times. You just want to show people. You don't have to be braggy. You just make it factual. I think you want to show people what you've got. Leverage everything you possibly can. That's how I feel about it. All right, here we go. Tobias M. Tobias asks, why do people think artists should be poor to be authentic? I'd like to be genuine and pay rent. Me too, Tobias. Me too. I don't know if people think that or not. I mean, all of this nonsense about starving artists comes from Van Gogh, right? All the stories about Van Gogh. Van Gogh was mentally ill and he was a severe alcoholic, right? So he never sold a painting in his lifetime, maybe one, and his brother sold it for him. And he never really knew the success. Everybody thought he was crazy because of the way he was painting, because it was so unusual at the time. Took 60 years before his sister-in-law made him famous, right? She got all his paintings sold. And that, so it takes a village, right, so to speak. I hate that term. Anyway, you don't need to be poor to be authentic. I know artists who are very wealthy and they're authentic. You can just be you, be who you are. There is no shame in making a living. As a matter of fact, I would think that most people want to buy from somebody who's successful. I see somebody who's like starving. It's like, oh, nobody else wants their art. He or she can't pay their rent because nobody wants their art. And then I see somebody who's successful and they're driving I went out to dinner with an artist who picked me up in a brand new Mercedes-Benz, top of the line. I'm thinking, this guy's making some bucks. And then he's telling me he's got a home here and a home here and a home here and a home here. And I'm like, yeah, he's doing okay. And that makes me feel like, wow, I'm glad I have one of his paintings. I do actually have one of his paintings. It makes me feel like this person is more successful. And that makes me feel like my painting is better. Right? Okay, let's see here. Natalie Green. What's the one thing I can do this month to actually sell a painting, not just promote? Well, if I'm stumbling on that one, Natalie, the closest thing, the easiest way to sell a painting is to find somebody that already knows your work, already loves your work, and has previously purchased your work, right? Because now you don't have to sell them on you or your style or your approach. You just have to sell them on the idea that I have a new painting. So there's a lot of ways you can do that. You can pick up the phone and you can call a previous buyer and you can say, hey, it's Natalie. Remember me? You bought that big painting of the castle. I just painted another castle and I thought you'd like to know about it. You want me to email it to you? Yeah. Or text it to me? Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, you can do that. You can do it in a newsletter form. You can do it in an email form where you're sending it out to all of the people who buy your paintings. Always keep a separate list of your buyers. And that way, because buyers are your best people, right? They are your collectors. And oftentimes, a gallery director will tell me oftentimes, the goal is to turn a buyer into a multiple painting collector from one artist. And then maybe they add others too, but you want them to buy, have 8 or 10. I have a friend who's got 8 or 10 of one particular artist. I don't have 8 or 10 of any particular artist. I have 2 or 3 of some artists. And so that's a really good thing. So that's the best thing you can do this month is pick up the phone and call somebody. The other best thing you can do is promote commissions, right? So let's say, okay, it's Memorial Day. How did that happen? Man, it was just January. So it's Memorial Day, and now you got to start thinking about, okay, the next 6 months we've got what's coming up. We got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas. Hard to even be thinking about those things right now. You pick up the phone, you call somebody and say, hey, you told me once that you would love to have a painting of your trip to Bora Bora, or your wife really loved it. Why don't I do a painting for a gift? Was she have a birthday coming up, or, Christmas or something like that? So stimulate thought. That's how we do it. All right. So the one thing I want to do is tell you guys about what is happening next. Now, here it is. Memorial Day, hard to believe, just about, I don't know, just a few days away, not very, very far away. I've got a gathering of artists. I don't know how many are there, probably close to 100 in the Adirondacks. It's my Adirondack retreat. I don't know if there's even any space. I've been too busy to check, been at the plein air convention. But if you want to go and you want to try and hang out with us for a week and spend time and paint, it's June 7 through 14. And that is cool. But here's one I know you can get into still, and that is Fall Color Week. Fall Color Week is still got a few seats left, and that is coming up this fall. You want to paint fall color in Door County, Wisconsin. It's a spectacular place. You're going to love it, and let's all gather there and paint for a week. I think you should do that. So that is happening. The other thing that's happening is you double check this. I think last Friday was the deadline, but we might be able to squeeze you in today or tomorrow because it's a holiday weekend. Maybe we haven't got all this stuff done yet, but we might be able to get you into the Paint Switzerland trip. And we got a bunch of people going. It's going to be a blast. That's coming up in October. I can't wait to paint the Matterhorn and some of these other mountains and these beautiful villages. And then we're going to go to Lake Como and paint. Then we're going to go to Venice and paint. That's an optional trip, the Venice part. paintswitzerland.com/ASL. Check that out. And we've got a really, really, really cool thing coming up right after the Adirondack event on a Saturday. It's called Digital Painting Live. We have some of the greatest Hollywood artists who do the films. Let me just walk you through some of these. John Burton, one of the most amazing artists on the earth, does digital painting, is going to be with us. Marco Bucci, who's a superstar, has done that's you can see the Disney stuff in the background. Who else do we have? Dylan Cole. Dylan Cole did Avatar. I think he did Lord of the Rings. Nathan Folks, one of the great legends of Hollywood, is going to be teaching digital painting. I mean, this is a lineup. Everybody says like these. Mike Hernandez is a legend. Did Shrek, did a lot of movies for a lot of different DreamWorks and others. And Tiffany Mang as well. She's going to co-host with me. And so we've got an incredible lineup of people, including Jennifer Wang. There's like 9 or 10 hours of content, and it's very inexpensive, right? It's $47 to attend for the day. $47. You can't, you go to lunch and you could spend $47, right? And you get to watch all of these people do digital painting. It is absolutely incredible. So go to digitalpaintinglive.com and get signed up for that. Even if you're not a digital painter, you want to watch this because you're going to learn the techniques that these people create, all that drama, all that beauty. I am so excited. I will be hosting, but I'm going to be watching as well. I'm going to have my tablet out. I'm going to be, I don't know if I'll paint along, but I'm going to be trying to understand the concepts that they're teaching. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Okay, now back to your questions. Before we do that, let me tell you, we would love it if you subscribe to this program. Just go to YouTube, look up Art School Live, and hit that subscribe button. And there's a little bell down there too. That little bell will remind you when we go live. All right. Now, got a free gift for everybody today watching. And if you want this free gift, go to 97artsecrets.com/ASL for Art School Live. And it's a 2-hour incredible video, a sample of some of the incredible videos that we have produced at painttube.tv. Okay, now let's go back to the questions. Here's one from Claire Jennings in Ireland. Hello, Claire. I hear you've got an incredible painting event over there in July in Ireland, and I want to come. I've been invited. It's hard. I'm going to be in China in July, but maybe I'll come next year. Okay. Claire Jennings from Ireland. Do blogs or artist websites still matter in 2025, or is social media enough? The thing that's really hard, Claire, is that everything matters. Everything matters and nothing matters. And what I mean by that is, back when I was cutting my teeth on marketing, I didn't have a lot of options. There was no such thing as email, if you can imagine that. So we would mail things at actual mail, right? we would print things out and we would mail them. We still do that, right? We would make phone calls to people. We'd say, hey, you want to buy something? And we would run ads in magazines or newspapers. And sometimes we would print flyers and put them on the windshields of cars, or put them under hotel room doors. I mean, I've done all that stuff, right, for years. And the problem is that everything works still. Those things still work, but there's also tons of other things that work. Blogs work. There's all kinds of, websites work. Social media works. But you have to kind of start where you know you can control it. You got to pick something, right? You may not be able to do it all. I can't do it all. I should be on all social media. I'm on tons of them, but I'm not on everything. And I should be, but I can't. I just can't keep up. So, you control what you can control and do what you can. Yeah, blogs matter because people love content. I don't know if anybody calls them blogs much anymore or not, but it's content. People love content. People love stories. Websites, they matter if I'm not a big website fan these days. I do a lot of websites. I'm not saying that, but for artists, you've got to figure out how to get people to come to your website. And if they don't come to your website, it's not going to do any good. It's like having your name in a phone book. Remember those? And so you've got to figure out a strategy to get people there. And that isn't just happening organically. If it does happen organically, it's done through your blog. Your blog is on your website. You're telling a new story. You're posting it. That way, Google and others will find that new story. Because if you want people to find you organically, you got to change content at least once a week on your website. So social media can be enough. All of those things can be enough. But I just try to do as much as I possibly can with the time that I've got. And that's the choice we have. All of them are good. Some of them aren't good. Well, I mean, they're all good, but some of them don't work sometimes, because of the way you're using them. So you got to learn how to use them. You got to study this stuff. I study it. I have to keep up because it changes every 60 days. Everything changes. There's, a couple of years ago, hashtags were the bomb. Right now, nobody uses hashtags. Nobody even uses the word the bomb. Right. So, okay, here's one from Anonymous. Does anyone really read artist statements, or are we all just faking it? Everybody always asks me, should I do an artist statement? And I've never in my life, I've been in the art business for well over 20 years. I've been an artist for longer than that. I have never written and I have never read an artist statement. And I'm a publisher of 2 art magazines and 5 art newsletters and 7 art conferences. I've never read an artist statement, never knowingly. I just think it's bogus. If you want to have it on your website, do it on your website. But what does it mean to anybody? What you really want to do is, people love stories. Instead of making a statement, tell your story. Right? My story is this. I'll tell you my story, right? I've told it a million times. I keep telling it. I didn't know how to paint. I kept trying to learn. I got bad instructors. They told me I couldn't paint. I quit. I gave up, got rid of my art supplies. Then I decided I wanted to try it again. People told me I wasn't good. I quit, over and over again. Then I discovered a guy. He encouraged me, he taught me, he showed me, and he knew how to teach. And so since then, I opened my eyes to art, and everything I do now is about trying to help other people learn how to paint, because I know how discouraging and how frustrating it can be. That's my story. It's a true story. Your story is a true story. Don't make stuff up. Just tell your story. I was a school teacher, and I found that all I did was doodle. And, I was doodling all the time, and the kids were like, hey, can I have one of those? And then the parents were like, hey, can I have one of those? And next thing you know, I thought, well, maybe I'll start making art. And then I start selling my art. That whatever your story is, you don't have to fake it, and you don't have to do it. By the way, there's no one thing that everybody has to do. The only thing I say is you got to be high integrity. That to me is everything. Be high integrity. Okay. Well, we're moving right along. We've got some more questions here in this Memorial Day Marketing Monday. I am planning, says Alia Hassan, I am planning to move abroad. How do I keep my collectors engaged from a new country? Well, you know, there are no borders anymore when it comes to the online world, right? Maybe in some countries where they require, you know, they limit, you know, what you can look at, like China, which I'll find out about in about 17 days. I think, you know, you can have collectors all over the world. You can keep them engaged. The way to keep people engaged is to stay in touch, let them know what you're doing, talk to them, send them emails, send them texts, send them newsletters, keep them engaged. They don't even have to know you moved. You don't have to talk about that. They don't care. I mean, the only reason they would care is if it makes it more expensive to get your stuff to them. And so if you figure out a way around that, but you don't, you know, I mean, I've moved, I live all over the country, all over the world, in different places at different times, and nobody seems to care. All right. Okay, so that is today's special edition of Art Marketing Monday, Memorial Monday. So we have a free gift for you. Remember to get that free gift. It's 97 incredible art secrets from the world's finest artists at 97secrets.com. I want to remind you guys to go to Digital Painting Live. It's going to be amazing. Also want to tell you that I have this thing called Art Business Mastery. I have a mastermind group where I coach people on their art and their business. I've got a bunch of people in it. I also have some fundamentals courses that you can find. And I did an event last January called Art Biz Mastery Day. And you can get the replays on there, and they're very inexpensive, but they will change your life, I think. And so go to artbizmastery.com to get those. And then we also have Art Biz Mastery Day coming up again. We're going to do it in November, so you can get ahead of your planning for the year. That's coming up in November. But go to Art Biz Mastery, B-I-Z, artbizmastery.com. Sound like a plan? And of course, remind you that we will see you in Adirondacks or Fall Color Week. And of course, we had the big announcement about where we're going next year. You'll have to look at the Plein Air Convention website just so you can see it. Okay. We're here every weekday at 12 noon, Marketing Mondays, Feedback Fridays, and Training in the Middle every day. Subscribe. Okay. And have a great Memorial. I'm going to go and I don't know. I'm going to get a rubber ducky and a towel, and I'm going to head to the beach. That's what I'm going to do. I'm Eric Rhoads, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here today on this special Memorial Day edition. Bye-bye.